when did Carson go down? Okay, since that point, no one's given us a chance. Nobody has given us a chance. I understand Carson's a great player, but every week our guys are hearing the same thing, that now we're all of a sudden not good enough. You know, we're 13-3. We have the best record in football. We're, home field advantage throughout. The guys are going to motivate themselves just based on what they've done for them, heard for the last month of football. It really doesn't matter what you guys talk about, because that locker room in there is united, and I'll go to bat for every one of those guys, and I'll go to war with every one of those guys.
Brunson back at you with the bet. And I am the best reporting on the Eagles. Let's get into depth about what this really means. Let's get into depth. Let's talk about it. So this trade, not this trade. The Eagles deciding to pick up Nick Foles' option for $20 million could go in a lot of directions. It can go in a lot of directions. And quite frankly, I'm kind of disgusted. With, just some of the things I'm hearing from Eagles Nation. Hypothetically, what if the Philadelphia Eagles decide to take this route? What if they decide to trade Carson Wentz for multiple first-round picks? Would they be wrong? Would they be wrong in doing that? Now, I don't think they'd be wrong in doing it. I'm comfortable with either quarterback. I've been saying that since day one. But at the end of the day, you can't pick and choose what you want. Nick Foles, Carson Wentz, say Carson Wentz starts the season, he goes out there and he bombs it. He plays terrible. He doesn't have that much experience. He is a first-round pick. He's a top talent in the NFL, but he hasn't got his feet wet in certain situations. This is a situation for Carson Wentz. Now, the best situation for Carson Wentz, honestly, is Nick Foles not being on the roster. Then Carson Wentz will have the liberty of playing free football. He's intimidated by the play of Carson Wentz. So hypothetically, I'm going to give you guys a scenario. The Eagles decide to keep Nick Foles and Carson Wentz, and they start Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz has 2 bad games in a row. It's going to be screams from hell for Nick Foles to go back in the game. Now, vice versa, the other way around. The Eagles decide to keep Nick Foles, pick up the option, keep him, start him from day one, name him the starter going into training camp, trade Carson Wentz for a buku amount of first-round picks, and Nick Foles has a little couple-game slump. They would say, why would we trade Carson Wentz for a backup? It's a sticky situation to be in for the Philadelphia Eagles, but I think it's the best situation to be in if you're the Philadelphia Eagles. You got 2 quarterbacks who can play. Now, the way I think this is going to play out, I think they're going to end up trading Nick Foles. Because if you pick up the option on Nick Foles, you definitely have the leverage in the trade market to get a marquee player back for Nick Foles. It'll be asinine to just let Nick Foles walk away in free agency. That's what my live stream was about a couple weeks ago. Now, everybody is pinpointing this trade with the Jacksonville Jaguars. There's many ways this can go. The Jaguars aren't the only team that need a quarterback. Nick Foles could be a Buccaneer. I can see that happening. I can see Nick Foles being a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. Nick Foles a Buccaneer. Here's a trade scenario that I like really good. I like this trade scenario with all my heart. Trust me. I trade Nick Foles to the Jaguars. I trade Nick Foles and Jalen Mills for Jalen Ramsey and a 3rd-round pick. I do it. I love the trade. I love that trade. And then you could work your draft picks, or you could pick up somebody in free agency at the running back position. Kareem Hunt seems like a hot topic for the Philadelphia Eagles to be thinking about. Another trade. Nick Foles to Tampa Bay. And give me that linebacker. What is his name? McCoy? Give me that linebacker. And give me Fitzpatrick. And you can get Nick Foles in the 5th-round pick. Another good trade. You pair that guy with Fletcher Cox. Actually, my guy Rec on Instagram just hit me up about that. I didn't even think about that. You pair that guy with Fletcher Cox, and there you go. Magical. It's a number of ways this can go. This thing is not just subjected to what we think. Picking up that Nick Foles option was genius. We're not giving away no hand-me-downs. We're not giving away nothing free. We're not letting these people throw a number at Nick. You want Nick, it's going to cost you something. You're going to have to give something to the Eagles. We need something from you. You don't get Nick scot-free. That's not how this thing about to work. It's an MVP. That's a Super Bowl MVP. That's a Super Bowl winner. A Super Bowl winner. He got just as much right to this bread as Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees and all the other quarterbacks who are not multiple Super Bowl champions that we hold on this pedestal. This is Nick Foles. And if the Eagles were to make a decision and trade Carson Wentz for a bunch of picks and keep Nick Foles, I think Nick Foles would do damage. Just like I think Carson... Listen, we're hoping Carson Wentz does damage. That's the only thing that's bothering me about this situation. We are hoping Carson Wentz comes back with this fire and comes back with this vengeance, but we know what Nick Foles can bring to the table. He don't need no extra motivation. He enjoys and he feels blessed to even be on the field, to even get a second chance with the Philadelphia Eagles. We're hoping Carson Wentz sees the light. We're hoping Carson Wentz targets other people besides Zach Ertz. We're hoping Carson Wentz can become more of a dynamic passer. Nick Foles is already that. Yeah, he don't have the athleticism. He don't have the other attributes that make you go goo-goo gaga over a quarterback coming out of the combine, but he could win and he could play, and that's all that matters. Drew Brees don't have those attributes either. He's too short, his hand's too small, but he's a winner and he could play. But it all boils down. Listen. I like a nice fancy car, but if it don't run right, give me the Toyota that look like crap but run right. It all boils down to what can get the job done. And as Eagles fans, we can't be selfish if it goes one way or the other. But you got to be realistic about this. The Eagles picking up the option leaves the window open for Carson Wentz to be gone. And that's something we got to brace ourselves about. It is a possibility. It's a possibility. These guys say these things all the time. Yeah, he's our guy from day one. He's our franchise guy. We got to be giving him the keys. It's all riding on him. Those things change. Especially when winning is involved. Those things change. This thing can go a number of ways. Nick Foles can be traded to a number of teams who need his services. It ain't just narrowed down to the Jacksonville Jaguars. It ain't just that simple. The Bucks need a quarterback. The Jaguars need a quarterback. The Ravens might need a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? And who would you rather have, Flacco or Nick Foles? You'd rather have a guy that looks good, right? A lot of people need quarterbacks. The Bengals might need a quarterback. The Redskins might need a quarterback. The list goes on and on. And we're going to want one of your top 5 players for Nick Foles' services, which is why it's genius to opt in. It's genius. Why let him walk free? Pay him the bread he deserves. And it'll get off the books and trade. Or if you decide to keep him, you cannot spend $20 million on this guy and keep Carson Wentz. You can't spend $20 million on Nick Foles for him to ride the bench. So he's either getting traded or Carson Wentz is gone. That's the reality of the situation. The city has got a taste of winning, and it doesn't matter if the goddamn crackhead sitting in front of 7-Eleven can throw the football. If he's the guy, he's the guy. It ain't about what looks good. It ain't about what we think. It's time to get real hard-nosed about this. Winning is all that matters. We know Carson Wentz is the church-going guy. We know Carson Wentz married his high school sweetheart. We know Carson Wentz is a great guy. Got the nice red hair. Winning is all that matters. It ain't about skin color. It ain't about height. It ain't about attributes. It's about, can you perform in the clutch? It's about, can you perform in the biggest moments? And I'm saying that to say this. Nick Foles has proved he can do that. Nick Foles has showed up in moments where the highest paid quarterback shriveled. Nick Foles did that. If you start Nick Foles from day one, the Eagles win the division. I am 100% sure. I'm 100% confident in that. If you start Nick Foles at the beginning of the season, we win a division. Look at what he did at the end of the season alone to will us into the playoffs, beating the Rams. Beating the Rams, who were in the Super Bowl. Beating the Texans. Shutting out. Breaking the record and shutting out the Redskins. 25 straight completions. How many records is Nick Foles going to break in an Eagles uniform? How many times is Nick Foles going to give the city something to root for? How many times is Nick Foles going to give us this warm feeling without us thinking he deserves the job of being the guy? Carson Wentz is the better athlete, but at this point and at this juncture, Nick Foles is by far the better quarterback, and that's all that should matter. But the organization can't put egg on their face and give up on a guy like that. Or can you? Or can you? Don't wait. My advice to the organization is this. Listen, this is honestly what I would do. This is going to be a really unpopular opinion, but after thinking about it all season and watching what Nick Foles can do, I probably would trade Carson Wentz. I would trade Carson Wentz. I need at least 2 first-round picks, and I need your second-round pick. And I need a top 5 player off your team. I need all of that. I probably would trade Carson Wentz. I probably would. Because this is what can happen. He's already shown the pattern of not being able to complete. And I love Carson Wentz to death. He's showing the pattern of not being able to keep his body on the field. Injuries happen. I get it. But look at the scenario we could be in if we would end up having to cut this guy because he gets hurt even worse. Look at the scenario we would be in if we would have to give up on him and not get nothing back for him. Look at that scenario. You can never count Howie out. Howie was able to get you a first-round pick back for Sam Bradford. You never know how this is going to go, but I believe in my heart of hearts that Nick Foles would be traded. But if I was the man, I would not. I repeat, from a winning standpoint, I would not listen to offers for Carson Wentz. I wouldn't listen to it. I would not. I would entertain it. You would have to listen. How many of my subscribers are convinced that if Carson Wentz doesn't go down, we win the Super Bowl last year? Do y'all think he could get it done in the playoffs? Do y'all think he could get it done in the playoffs? Do y'all think so? If you're comparing Carson Wentz to Nick Foles, one guy simplifies things by making the right throw, and one guy is young and he forces a lot of throws. Now, maybe Carson Wentz gets his act together next year. I believe he will be the starting quarterback next year. But if it's about winning, why wouldn't you keep the better football player? It's just a thought. Now, I'm not throwing no hate on Carson Wentz, or I'm not throwing no hate on Nick Foles. A lot of people in Eagles Nation are going to try to spin a lot of things and say, why are people giving Carson Wentz such a hard time? You can't give somebody a hard time if they're not winning. It's not a hard time. It's called tough criticism. We give Dak Prescott a hard time, and he's not even our quarterback. Now, Carson Wentz ain't do nothing wrong but get hurt. Injuries happen. Imagine the Patriots when Drew Bledsoe gets hurt. Tom Brady comes in and win it, and they go back with Tom Brady. What would the Patriots' legacy be?